Hello guys, in today's video we'll be taking a look at one of the Windows 10X preview builds released to developers in early 2020, specifically 19573. These builds were released to allow developers to prepare for the then upcoming Windows 10X devices like the elevated Surface Neo.
Windows 10X on Surface Neo, which is coming to you holiday 2020. Thank you very much.
That doesn't age well. Now, if you're wondering what Windows 10X is, it was a version of Windows built upon Windows Core OS that was meant to be designed for dual-screen devices. In addition to the focus on dual-screen devices, it would also come with a new containerized architecture, where traditional Win32 apps would run in a separate container, away from the underlying system files and the UWP apps. So, what happened to it? Well, the Surface Neo, its flagship launch device, was first delayed due to the pandemic, leading Microsoft to refocus Windows 10X towards traditional laptops. Then, about a year later in May 2021, Microsoft announced the cancellation of Windows 10X, saying that they were instead accelerating the integration of key functional Windows 10X technology into other parts of Windows and products at the company. Now, unlike in my other videos, we're not going to be using VMware Workstation. Instead, we're going to need to grab an app called Microsoft Emulator from the store and make sure we have Hyper-V enabled. Once we've got that installed, we need to right-click and run it as an administrator. Once it's open, we can choose to download an emulator image, which we're doing right now. And yes, these two Windows 10X builds are still hosted on Microsoft servers to this very day. And as you'll see now that we've got the emulator started, Windows 10X bears a striking resemblance to Windows 11, which was released in October 2021. The most obvious similarity is that the taskbar icons are now centered. The start menu also shares a similar design to that of Windows 11, with a search bar at the top, a set of app icons in the middle, and recent documents below that. The power options are, however, in the Action Center. If we open Settings and navigate to System and then About, we can see that we're running Windows 10X Insider Preview version 2004. And if we navigate to Windows Update, we can see that there are no updates available for us as expected. On these publicly released builds, the only apps that you can install are store apps, or apps which have been packaged for the store. However, if we open the store, we are greeted by this error, telling us that we need to update the store to continue. Now, I waited quite a while and it never progressed past this point. I think it's safe to say that the store no longer works on Windows 10X. We can, however, use the then new Chromium-based Edge to get a semi-modern browsing experience. We can even update it, but it only goes as far as version 92. However, even after upgrading it to this version, some things are kind of broken, like the hamburger menu which no longer renders properly. As an interesting aside, the Microsoft Edge Insider program publicly supported Windows 10X for a little while in late 2020 and early 2021, with download links for Windows 10X on their website alongside those for other Windows versions. If you click the Windows 10X download link, you would get an MSIX file which you could open on Windows 10X to install a packaged app. I also decided to take a quick look at the preloaded apps on here to see whether they still work. After all, I'd imagine they've not been updated since 2021 at the latest. While Weather, Maps, Movies and TV, Media Player and Feedback Hub all appeared to work as normal, the Get Help app just displayed an error. The Mail app stated that it was unsupported. Even worse, the new Outlook, which the Mail app offered to automatically download for us, wouldn't open at all. Neither would OneDrive, and strangely, Notepad. I also found this kind of broken looking Tips app that, when opened, just tells us that we can discover tips online. Another interesting thing that I found is that on this build of Windows 10X, we have two Files apps. We just have this normal Files app here, and we also have Files Beta. Now, if we open the normal Files app, we'll see that we have folders, we can look at our device, we have documents, we have downloads, Strangely, compared to the desktop version of Windows 10, we can't just go to the C drive and look around in there. We can only look at these user folders that are exposed to us. So that's kind of a bit like Chrome OS, where you can only look at your downloads folder. It don't let you look at the Linux root or anything like that on Chrome OS. But we'll also see here in Files Beta, it looks like it's much more of an online oriented Files app. It's demanding that we sign into OneDrive here, and it doesn't look like it's going to let us do anything. If we dismiss that dialog, the app just freezes. While we're in here, we can also take a look at running desktop apps on Windows 10X, specifically these Win32 apps we've got here. We've got Rufus, and we've also got the Firefox installer. Now, Windows 10X was supposed to have support for running Win32 apps in containers, as I said earlier. However, on this build, we can see if we try and run the app here, this wasn't yet implemented. And from what I've read online, the publicly available Windows 10X builds never did have this Win32 app support properly implemented. One final thing I wanted to look at here is the Action Center, which we can open by clicking down in the bottom right corner. And you'll see it looks quite like the Windows 11 Action Center. You can also lock the PC from in here, and we see this Windows 10X lock screen, which we can swipe up to dismiss, just like on regular Windows 10. The Action Center is also where we can shut down the computer. And you'll see we have this new modern looking power menu. Strangely, when this thing shuts down, it automatically starts itself back up, so you have to click the little X in the corner to close it. And with that, that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see anything else, leave a comment down below. See you in the next one.